Уважаемые коллеги,
Distinguished colleagues,
главы государств,
heads of state,
дамы и господа, дорогие друзья. Мы
ladies and gentlemen, dear friends,
расширим
we
состав,
continue our expanded format group.
и прежде чем мы это
Before
сделаем,
we do that
нам нужно утвердить
and begin,
повестку дня.
we need to agree on the agenda.
Известно,
It is well known to
вопросы,
you
есть ли
all.
какие-то в этой связи
Are there any
замечания,
questions or remarks regarding the agenda? Any proposals or amendments?
Нет?
If
Тогда
not,
исходим из того, что
let us
повестка дня
consider the agenda
Благодарю
agreed.
вас.
Thank you.
Если позволите, то
If you don't mind,
я открою нашу
allow me to
работу,
start our work,
продолжу, вернее,
or rather
нашу работу.
continue our work.
Мы рассмотрим актуальные вопросы
We will now
деятельности BRICS,
consider
прежде
the
всего,
relevant matters of BRICS
экономической и
activities,
гуманитарной
first of all in the area of
сфере, а также заслуженные
economy
заслуженные
and the
доклады
humanitarian sphere. We will listen to reports by the heads of the relevant agencies of our group, namely the President of the New Development Bank, Madam Dilma Rousseff, as well as the Chair of the Business Council, Mr. Katyrin, the Chair of the Interbank Cooperation Mechanism, Mr. Shuvalov, and the Chair of the Women's Business Alliance, Madam Nestorova. World trade and the global economy in general, as stated before, are undergoing significant changes. We should point out a positive factor. The center of business activities is gradually shifting towards the developing markets. We see the establishment of a multipolar model, which launches a new wave of growth, first of all in the countries of the global south and east, and naturally in the BRICS states. However, we still witness a significant crisis capacity, and it's not only about the geopolitical tension. What affects that is the continued growth of debt in the developed countries, the expanded practices of unilateral sanctions, protectionism, and unfair competition. As a result, we witness the fragmentation of international trade, the market of direct foreign investment, especially in the developing states. We see a high level of commodity price volatility. Due to inflation, the citizens' income and corporate revenues are dropping in numerous countries. We are not up to the task of complying with the UN Agenda in Sustainable Development to 2030, and the less developed countries are suffering from this the most. First of all, they're suffering from food and energy inflation. Speaking of the BRICS economies, overall, they show a good level of stability, thanks to responsible macroeconomic and financial policies of our governments. The majority of the group states expect to see accelerated growth rates in the middle term. The average BRICS economic growth in 2024-2025 would be 3.8%, according to estimations, while the global GDP would grow by 3.2 or 3.3%, according to estimates. The BRICS GDP share in purchasing power parity at the end of 2024
0,7%, что уверенно превышает долю стран группы 7. Эта доля составит 30%, а 30% было по итогам 2023 года, в 2024 будет чуть повыше. Тенденция к сохранению лидирующих позиций БРИКС в мировой экономике, как представляется, будет укрепляться. Прежде всего, в силу таких объективных факторов, как рост населения, накопление капитала, урбанизация и увеличение...
such as population growth, the increased labor efficiency and the innovations. We see the increased capacity of our economies to use all the advantages of the new wave of global growth. In order to do that, our countries need to step up the technological cooperation in such areas as technology, education, efficient resource allocation, trade and logistics, finance and trade, and significantly increase the volumes of capital investment. In this regard, we suggest creating a new BRICS investment platform, which would become a powerful tool to support our national economies and would ensure financial resources for the countries of the Global South and East. Let me point out that this year, our group has managed to agree on a number of initiatives aimed at solving the critical tasks of our common importance, in particular, to increase the sustainability of supply chains and added value, countering protectionism, to develop the e-commerce, to establish contacts through the special economic zones. We believe that the elaboration of a common position to establish more fair rules of the game in the global economy and the reform of the international finance system will be accelerated thanks to the launch of the special consultation mechanism of BRICS on the matters of the WTO. We need to keep working together to promote balanced approaches towards the low-emission model of development for the global economy. We need to counter the attempts to use the climate agenda to eliminate competition from the markets. This is especially important for the developing markets. This is what the BRICS Contact Group for Climate and Sustainable Development is doing. We see good promise in the initiative of the BRICS Partnership on Carbon Markets and the Climate Research Platform. The countries of the group are building up cooperation in eliminating the barriers for e-commerce and trade. The dynamic growth of the internet sales results in the increase of the number of commercial disputes which require fair consideration. The Russian chairmanship suggested establishing mutual exchange of information on the practices of the launch of online services to settle disputes in e-commerce, in order to make sure we can establish the joint framework procedures of the pre-court settlement of the disputes. Let me remind you of our own initiatives to establish the BRICS Investment Arbitration Center and the Convention on Settling Investment Disputes, which would increase the safety and security of the mutual capital investments. Over the entire BRICS space, we currently have over 2,500 special economic zones. We believe it is important to establish direct links between the management teams of such territories with preferential or reduced rates, in order to make sure they can exchange their best practices in building logistics hubs, localizing the industrial production, and establishing the beneficial and competitive conditions for the investors. A number of BRICS states are the leaders in the production of grains, of beans and oil cultures and products of agriculture. Therefore, we suggest starting the grain exchange of BRICS, which would ensure fair and predictable price indicators for the commodity prices, keeping in mind its special role in ensuring food security.
Implementation of this initiative will help us protect national markets from negative external influence, speculations and attempts to create artificial food deficit. Over time, we could think of transforming the grain exchange into a full-fledged goods exchange. BRICS is making an undeniable contribution to global energy security. The grouping includes both key producers and consumers of energy resources. The joint energy research platform has proven its efficiency. Russia is promoting expansion of management of mineral resources. Cooperation. In July, Moscow hosted the first meeting of the geological platform, which has made it possible to revive the exchange of experience in the field of exploration and production of natural resources. We believe it is reasonable to establish a separate BRICS platform on precious metals and diamonds, because this market is overregulated by different trade barriers, bypassing the universal Kimberley process certification mechanism. The BRICS Competition Law and Policy Center has proven efficient. We believe it is useful to advance this work. In particular, we should launch an interstate platform on fair competition. Let me stress the successful meeting of heads and experts of tax services of BRICS countries that was held in Moscow, colleagues put forward some useful ideas, namely to develop a website for tax cooperation among BRICS countries and establishment of an online platform for digital solutions of tax services. Russia suggested creating a permanent tax secretariat of BRICS on a rotation basis. Increasing transport connectivity requires particular attention because it gives us additional possibilities for growth and diversification of mutual trade. This year, we launched a regular dialogue on this issue. We built subgroups on transport and logistics under the Business Council. We are discussing such future-oriented projects as establishment of a permanent BRICS logistics platform and a review of transport routes, as well as launching an electronic communication platform on transport, as well as establishment of a reinsurance pool. We've reached tangible progress in cooperation on public health care, facilitated by the October meeting of sectoral ministers. It set a long-term vector for work in the field of healthcare. We established a group on nuclear medicine that will promote cooperation in the field of production of innovative radiological medicines and diagnostics. St. Petersburg hosted a first BRICS forum on nuclear medicine that has proven efficient. We've launched an integrated early warning system for prevention of risks of mass infectious diseases. Russia put forward an initiative to establish a research BRICS network on public health care that should strengthen the national health care systems by means of exchanging advanced experience and expertise. We should further strengthen the potential of BRICS Vaccine R&D Center and the BRICS TB Research Network. On a separate note, I would like to mention the first edition of the BRICS Medicine Journal. From now on, doctors, researchers and students have a possibility to publish their innovative ideas. BRICS scientific and technical cooperation is making contribution to overcoming the global digital divide, development of artificial intelligence and new advanced technologies. I would like to draw your attention to the Russian proposal on establishment of a BRICS alliance in the field of artificial intelligence. It aims at regulating artificial intelligence technologies, in particular in order to prevent their unlawful use. In Russia, the business community has adopted a code of ethics in this field. Our BRICS partners and other countries are welcome to join it. We welcome agreement on common approach to the creation of a system of scientific databases, as well as expansion of cooperation in the number of participants of the network university. Let me mention the decision to establish the Day of Geographer. From now on, it will be celebrated annually on the 18th of August. We have already held a scientific expedition to the national parks in Krasnoyarsk and region and Khakassia on that day. During the Russian chairship, we made a focus on development of cultural and humanitarian contacts. We held an international film festival and the cultural festival of BRICS countries and established an alliance of national dancing cultures and an association of BRICS Educational Film and Media Association. We've held large-scale sports games of BRICS. This year, Kazan hosted the 5th edition of such games on 27 sports. For the first time, they were held in an open format. Not only BRICS athletes participated, but also athletes from more than 80 countries of the world. These groups demonstrate that Russia has an up-to-date infrastructure and human potential to hold large global-scale sports events. In order to further develop the BRICS Games, we suggest that we develop a special intergovernmental program and establish a coordinating body that would implement projects in the field of physical culture and sports. This year, within the grouping, we have revived an interparliamentary dialogue. We established a new format, namely the meetings of heads of committees on international affairs of our respective lawmaking bodies. There are good prospects for cooperation between regions towns, cities and municipalities. During thematic forums held in Moscow, Nizhny Novgorod and Kazan, we managed to discuss prospects for cooperation in the field of sustainable development of municipalities, effective governance of urban facilities and infrastructure, as well as ensuring greater accessibility of public services. Distinguished colleagues, excellencies, thank you for your attention, and now I would like to give the floor to give you a chance to speak on the results of our economic and humanitarian cooperation. Now I give the floor to President of the People's Republic of China.
Your Excellency, President Vladimir Putin, colleagues. First of all, I wish to extend my warm congratulations on the successful opening of this summit. I also wish to thank President Putin and our host, Russia, for the thoughtful arrangements and warm hospitality. I'm confident that, through our concerted efforts, this summit will not only illuminate the path for cooperation within the expanded BRICS, but also mark the beginning of a new chapter in solidarity and cooperation of the Global South. As the world enters a new period defined by turbulence and transformation, we are confronted with pivotal choices that will shape our future. Should we allow the world to descend into the abyss of disorder and chaos, or should we strive to steer it back on the path of peace and development? This reminds me of a novel by Nikolai Chernyshevsky entitled What is to be Done? The protagonist's unwavering determination and passionate drive are exactly the kind of willpower we need today. The more tumultuous our times become, the more we must stand firm at the forefront, exhibiting tenacity, demonstrating the audacity to pioneer, and displaying the wisdom to adapt, to jointly open up a new chapter for the high-quality development of the greater BRICS cooperation. We should build a BRICS committed to peace, and we must all act as defenders of common security. We humans are an indivisible community of security. Only by embracing the vision of common, comprehensive, cooperative, and sustainable security can we pave the way for universal security. The Ukraine crisis still persists. China and Brazil, in collaboration with other countries from the Global South, initiated a group of friends for peace to address the crisis. The aim is to gather more voices advocating peace. We must uphold the three key principles, namely no expansion of the battlefields, no escalation of hostilities, and no fanning flames, and strive for swift de-escalation of the situation. While the humanitarian situation in Gaza continues to deteriorate, the flames of war have once again been rekindled in Lebanon, and conflicts are escalating among the parties. We must promote an immediate ceasefire and an end to the killing. We must make unremitting efforts toward a comprehensive, just, and lasting resolution of the Palestinian question. We should build a BRICS committed to innovation, and we must all act as pioneers of high-quality development. As the latest round of technological revolution and industrial transformation is advancing at an accelerated speed, we must keep pace with the times and foster new quality productive forces. China has recently launched a China BRICS Artificial Intelligence Development and Cooperation Center. We are ready to deepen cooperation on innovation with all BRICS countries to unleash the dividends of AI development. China will establish a BRICS Deep Sea Resources International Research Center, a China Center for Cooperation on Development of Special Economic Zones in BRICS countries, a China Center for BRICS Industrial Competencies, and a BRICS Digital Ecosystem Cooperation Network. We welcome active participation from all interested parties to promote the high-quality upgrading of BRICS cooperation. We should build a BRICS committed to green development, and we must all act as promoters of sustainable development. Green is the defining color of our times. It is important that all BRICS countries proactively embrace the global trend of green and low-carbon transformation. China's high-quality production capacity, as exemplified by its manufacturing of electric vehicles, lithium batteries, and PV products, provides a significant boost to global green development. China is willing to leverage its strength to expand cooperation with BRICS countries in green industries, clean energy, and green mining, and promote green development through the entire industrial chain so as to increase the green quotient of our cooperation and upgrade the quality of our development. We should build a BRICS committed to justice, and we must all act as forerunners in reforming global governance. The international power dynamics is undergoing profound changes, but global governance reform has lagged behind for a long time. We should champion true multilateralism and adhere to the vision of global governance characterized by extensive consultation, joint contribution, and shared benefits. We must ensure that global governance reform is guided by the principles of fairness, justice, openness, and inclusiveness, and increase the representation and voice of Global South countries. The current developments make the reform of the international financial architecture all the more pressing. BRICS countries should play a leading role in the reform. We should deepen fiscal and financial cooperation, promote the connectivity of our financial infrastructure, and apply high standards of financial security. The new development bank should be expanded and strengthened. We must ensure that the international financial system more effectively reflects the changes in the global economic landscape. We should build a BRICS committed to closer people-to-people exchanges, and we must all act as advocates for harmonious coexistence among all civilizations. BRICS countries boast a profound and illustrious historical and cultural heritage. It is important that we promote the spirit of inclusiveness and harmonious coexistence among civilizations. We should enhance the exchange of governance experiences among BRICS countries and fully harness the untapped potential for cooperation in areas such as education, sports, and the arts, so that our diverse cultures can inspire one another and illuminate the path forward for BRICS. Last year, I proposed an initiative for BRICS digital education cooperation, and I'm delighted to see that it has become a reality. China will implement a capacity-building program for BRICS digital education. We will open 10 learning centers in BRICS countries in the next 5 years and provide training opportunities for 1,000 local education administrators, teachers, and students. This will be a tangible step to deepen and strengthen people-to-people exchanges among BRICS countries. Colleagues, China is willing to work with all BRICS countries to open a new horizon in the high-quality development of greater BRICS cooperation and build a community with a shared future for mankind together. Thank you.
Спасибо большое, уважаемый господин председатель. Мнение Китая крайне важно.
Thank you. It's very important for our grouping, and not only for BRICS. I'm sure that everybody actually followed your presentation with great attention. And now pass the floor to the President of the Arab Republic of Egypt, Mr. Sisi. You have the floor, Your Excellency.
Excellency President, in the name of Almighty God, Your Excellency President Vladimir Putin, President of Federal Russia, Majesties and Excellencies, Presidents of States and Governments, honorable participants, it gives me a pleasure to address this session, which is an availing opportunity for exchanging views and consultations in a framework of openness that boosts common understanding to the current international and regional issues. I would like as well to second the briefing reports submitted by the President of the New Development Bank, the representatives of BRICS Business Council, Businesswomen Alliance and the bloc's mechanism of collaborating banks. I affirm our full support to their action. Ladies and gentlemen, Egypt fully believes of the significance of the enhancement of multipolar international order, including the UN and its organs at its core. It is the main anchor for maintaining peace, stability and development gains. It is a robust guarantee for keeping international peace and security. However, the subsequent crises stormed the world over the past years unquestionably demonstrated how crippled is the international order in dealing with equity with conflicts around the globe. Furthermore, the state of polarization and selectivity with which the international order is characterized. Honorable participants, the international developments showed that the deficiency that the current international order suffers from is not only limited to political and security issues, rather is extended to economic and developmental themes. The developing countries are suffering from the surging debt issue and the non-availability of the required finance for the achievement of the sustainable development goals, further to the high cost of financing and lending. Out of this, Egypt attaches great priority to taking concrete moves, safeguarding that the international community would undertake its role for the provision of concessional financing for the realization of development in the developing states through putting in place innovative and effective mechanisms for financing development and holistic mechanisms ensuring the sustainable management of the developing countries' debt. Honorable participants, I would like to also to note that in last June, Egypt hosted the first international forum of the New Development Bank. That forum was designed to introduce the bank transactions and the support it provides to both the public and private sectors and discuss the prospects of future cooperation among the BRICS member states. This comes within our faith of the key role assumed by the New Development Bank for providing concessional financing, supporting the execution of developmental projects in developing countries, notably in the sectors of transportation, clean energy, digital infrastructure and urban development. Majesties and Excellencies, the expansion of BRICS grouping early this year reflects the grouping's nation's attention to strengthening multilateral cooperation and raising the voice and interests of the developing countries in various international and regional fora. Based on such, Egypt emphasizes its support towards bolstering consultation and coordination among the BRICS nations and intensifying cooperation in face of common international challenges, notably climate change, access to concessional financing, food security, upsurging rates of poverty and hunger, and the expansion of the digital and knowledge gap. Egypt equally asserts the importance for advancing cooperation frameworks in financial settlements in local currencies, investment of relative advantages of the grouping's nations to launch common economic investment and developmental projects, particularly in the fields of agriculture, industry, digital transformation and new and renewable energy. Further to our support to the key role of BRICS Business Council, the bloc's Businesswomen Alliances in scaling up cooperation between the private sector and entrepreneurs in in the member states as major partners in the efforts of realization of sustainable development. Ladies and gentlemen, before I conclude my speech, I would like anew to confirm Egypt's commitment to the principles and pivots of BRICS action, as well as its earnestness to promoting cooperation among its states, contributing to the optimization of its role in instilling security and stability, increasing the global economic growth and attaining sustainable development goals. Thank you. Peace be upon you. May Allah's blessing shower you.
Thank you, distinguished Mr. President, and thank you first and foremost for what we have discussed outside. We've discussed the situation in the region. You briefed us in greater details about that. And now we have online President of Brazil. And it's my pleasure to pass the floor to Mr. Da Silva. You have the floor, Your Excellency.
Your Excellency, President Vladimir Putin, I would like to congratulate you for this successful BRICS meeting which is being held these years. Even though I'm not in Kazan in person, I would like to acknowledge how pleased I am to be addressing my BRICS brothers and sisters. I would like to thank the group members for their support in Brazil's presidency of the G20. Your support has been crucial to advance essential initiatives for reducing inequalities, such as taxing the super rich. Our countries have implemented successful social policies that can serve as an example for the rest of the world in recent years. The Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty is already in an advanced stage of membership. I invite everyone to join the initiative, which was born at the G20 but is open to other participants. BRICS is an essential player in tackling climate change. There is no doubt that the greatest responsibility lies with rich countries, whose emissions record has culminated in the climate crisis that afflicts us today. It is necessary to go beyond the 100 billion promised annually and not fulfilled, and strengthen measures to monitor the commitments made. Scientific data expresses an unprecedented sense of urgency. The planet is one, and its future depends on collective action. It is also up to emerging countries to do their part to limit the rise in global temperature to 1.5 degrees. At COP30 in Berlin, together we will show that it is possible to reconcile greater ambition in our nationally determined contributions with the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities. In the Brazilian BRICS presidency, we want to reaffirm the bloc's vocation in the fight for a multipolar world and for less asymmetrical relations between countries. We cannot accept the imposition of apartheid in access to vaccines and medicines, as occurred during the pandemic, nor in the development of artificial intelligence, which is on its way to becoming a privilege of few. We need to strengthen our technological capabilities and encourage the adoption of non-exclusive multilateral frameworks in which the voice of governments prevails over private interests. BRICS has been responsible for a significant portion of global economic growth in recent decades. Together, we are over 3.6 billion people who are part of dynamic markets with high social mobility. We represent 36% of global GDP by purchasing power parity. We have 72% of the planet's rare earths, 75% of the manganese, and 50% of the graphite. However, financial flows continue to flow to rich nations. It is a Marshall Plan in reverse, in which emerging and developing economies finance the developed world. BRICS initiatives and institutions break with this logic. Business Council actions have contributed to expanding trade between us. Brazilian exports to BRICS countries grew 12-fold between 2003 and 2023. BRICS is currently the origin of almost a third of Brazil's imports. The Women's Business Alliance is creating networks to foster women's economic empowerment and combating persistent gender inequalities through the interbank cooperation mechanism. Our national development banks will establish credit lines in local currencies, which will reduce transaction costs for small and medium-sized enterprises. The new development bank, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary this year, has invested in the infrastructure needed to strengthen our economies and promote a just and sovereign transition. Under the leadership of Sister Dilma Rousseff, the NDB currently has a portfolio of almost 100 projects, financing in the order of $33 billion. It was designed to succeed where the Bretton Woods institutions continue to fail. Rather than offering programs that impose conditionalities, the NDB finances projects aligned with national priorities. Rather than furthering disparities, its governance is based on equal voting. Now is the time to move forward with creating alternative payment methods for transactions between our countries. It's not about replacing our currencies, but we need to work to ensure that the multipolar order we desire is reflected in the international financial system. This discussion needs to be approached seriously, cautiously, and with technical solidity, but it cannot be postponed any further. Many insist on dividing the world into friends and enemies. But the most vulnerable are not interested in simplistic dichotomies. What they want is plenty of food, decent work, and quality, universally accessible public schools and hospitals. It is a healthy environment without climate events that put its survival at risk. It is a life of peace without weapons that victimize innocent people. As President Erdogan said at the UN General Assembly, Gaza has become the world's largest cemetery for children and women in the world. This folly is now spreading to the West Bank and Lebanon. Avoiding escalation and initiating peace negotiations is also crucial in the conflict in Ukraine. As we have two wars with the potential to become global, it is essential to restore our ability to work together towards common goals. Therefore, the motto of the Brazilian presidency will be strengthening cooperation in the global south for more inclusive and sustainable governance. I hope, my brothers and sisters, to see you at the next summit for us to build another chapter of our common history. Thank you very much, President Putin, and thank you, brothers and sisters in Kazan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Brazil, we passed the chairship to Brazil, and on our behalf we will do our best to support you and to make this transition of chairship efficient, and we are sure that the chairship is in secure hands. And now I pass the floor to the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. You have the floor, sir.
Excellency Vladimir Putin, President of the Russian Federation, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, distinguished delegates, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to President Vladimir Putin for hosting the 16th BRICS Summit. This gathering represents hope in our pursuit of effective multilateralism to address the pressing global challenges we face today. As the newest member of the BRICS family, Ethiopia is prepared to engage constructively in fostering a multilateralism that serves both developed and developing nations, anchored in the principle of equity. Our world is rapidly evolving with a multitude of crises that demands wisdom and thoughtful approach. Excellencies, it is crucial to acknowledge that economic growth in developing countries is often challenged by unfair global financial systems. The imbalances in our global economic framework are driving rising inequality, inflation, and unemployment, making collective efforts more urgent than ever. The calls for climate action and climate finance continue to be ignored even as the crisis deepens. In the middle of these challenges, however, I see a tremendous opportunity in BRICS. With its collective voice representing nearly half of the global population and over a third of global GDP, BRICS has the potential to be a transformative force for a more equitable world order. Excellencies, intra-BRICS trade, investment, and tourism can ignite economic growth that not only benefits our member states, but also serves as a model for cooperation and solidarity in addressing global challenges. We must leverage our diverse economies and high growth potential to achieve tangible economic gains that uplift our people. Enhancing cooperation in the development of artificial intelligence is also essential. I strongly support the proposal made both by President Putin and President Xi on this matter. Furthermore, the expedited consideration of membership requests to the new development bank will serve to enhance alternative financing, particularly for infrastructure projects that are crucial to our development. I believe BRICS is uniquely positioned to galvanize support for a fair and representative multilateralism. Together, we can champion reforms that address the concerns of developing nations and ensure that their voices are heard on the global stage. Ethiopia, in particular, wishes to emphasize that the reform of the UN Security Council deserves our attention. We have confidence that the countries at this summit will prioritize Africa's representation in the UN Security Council, adhering to the common African position. This is not just about representation. It is about justice, equity, and ensuring that all nations can contribute to global governance. Mr. President, Excellencies, Ethiopia exemplifies the practical relevance of our partnership, embodying the hope and potential that BRICS represents. Our nation, now the third largest economy in sub-Saharan Africa, is endowed with a young and dynamic workforce, vast arable land, and abundant renewable energy resources. These assets present unparalleled opportunities for investment and trade, and our ongoing macroeconomic reforms have unlocked new avenues for growth. Our Green Legacy Initiative, which mobilized our citizens to plant 40 billion seedlings in 6 years, stands as a testament to our commitment to sustainable and climate-resilient economic growth. Ethiopia is equally committed to ensuring food security, having become the largest wheat producer in Africa through enhanced productivity. Our investments in smart cities and tourism development highlight our cultural and historical richness, drawing visitors from around the globe. Therefore, I renew my call for strong intra-BRICS economic cooperation across sectors such as manufacturing, agriculture, energy, tourism, and importantly, artificial intelligence. As I conclude, let me assure you, Excellencies, of Ethiopia's unwavering commitment to actively participate in realizing our shared vision for a brighter future. Let us ensure that our partnership not only addresses our immediate challenges, but also lays the groundwork for a more equitable and inclusive multilateral world. I thank you.
Спасибо большое, уважаемый господин премьер-министр.
Thank you, distinguished Prime Minister. You attracted our attention to our priorities. Now I pass the floor to the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi.
Your Highness, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to President Putin for the excellent organization of the 16th BRICS Summit. And once again, a warm welcome to all our new friends who have joined BRICS. In its new expanded formation, BRICS accounts for 40% of the world's humanity and about 30% of the global economy. In the last nearly 2 decades, BRICS has achieved many milestones. I'm confident that in the times to come, this organization will emerge as a more effective medium to face global challenges. Friends, I would also like to convey warm greetings to Her Excellency Dilma Rousseff, President of the New Development Bank. In the last 10 years, this bank has emerged as an important option for the development needs of the countries of the Global South. With the opening of GIFT, or Gujarat International Finance Tech City in India, as well as regional centers in Africa and Russia, have boosted the activities of this bank. And development projects worth about $35 billion have been sanctioned. NDB indeed should continue to work on the basis of the demand-driven principle. And while expanding the bank, ensuring long-term financial sustainability, healthy credit rating, and market access should remain a priority. Friends, in its new expanded format, BRICS has emerged as an economy of more than $30 trillion. The BRICS Business Council and the BRICS Women Business Alliance have played a special role in increasing our economic cooperation. This year, the consensus reached within BRICS on WTO reforms, trade facilitation in agriculture, resilient supply chains, e-commerce, and special economic zones will strengthen our economic cooperation. Amidst all these initiatives, we should also focus on the interests of small and medium-scale industries. I'm pleased that the BRICS Startup Forum proposed during India's presidency in 2021 will be launched this year. The Railway and Research Network initiative taken by India is also playing an important role in increasing logistics and supply chain connectivity among BRICS countries. This year, the consensus reached by BRICS countries in collaboration with UNIDO to prepare a skilled workforce for Industry 4.0 is quite significant. The BRICS Vaccine R&D Center, launched in 2022, is helping increase health security in all the countries. We would be happy to share India's successful experience in digital health with BRICS partners. Friends, climate change has been a subject of our common priority. We welcome the consensus reached for the BRICS Open Carbon Market Partnership under Russia's presidency. In India, too, special emphasis is being laid on green growth, climate-resilient infrastructure, and green transition. Indeed, India has taken up several initiatives like the International Solar Alliance, Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, Mission Life, that is lifestyle for environment, Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam, or a tree in the name of your mother. Last year, during COP28, we started an important initiative called Green Credit. I invite BRICS partners to join these initiatives. Special emphasis is being laid on the construction of infrastructure in all BRICS countries. In India, we have established a digital platform called the Gati Shakti portal to rapidly expand multimodal connectivity. This has helped in integrated infrastructure development, planning and implementation, and has reduced logistic costs. We'll be happy to share our experiences with all of you. Friends, we welcome efforts to increase financial integration among BRICS countries. Trade in local currencies and smooth cross-border payments will strengthen our economic cooperation. The Unified Payments Interface, UPI, developed by India, is a huge success story, and it has been adopted in many countries. Last year, together with His Highness Sheikh Mohammed, it was also launched in the UAE. We are also willing to cooperate with other BRICS countries in this area. Friends, India is fully committed to increasing cooperation under BRICS. Our strong belief in our diversity and multipolarity is our strength. And this strength of ours and our shared belief in humanity will help in giving a meaningful shape to a prosperous and a bright future for the generations to come. I thank everyone for today's very important and valuable discussions. As the next president of BRICS, I extend my heartfelt best wishes to President Lula. India will give its full support for the success of your BRICS presidency. Once again, many thanks to President Putin and all the leaders.
Thank you very much, distinguished Prime Minister. We all talk about the need to ensure high rates of economic growth, and you managed to do that. We congratulate you on these results. 7.5% of GDP growth is an example for many of us, and I thank you for your initiatives. Thank you. And now, please, I give the floor to the President of Iran.
In the name of God, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Your Excellency, Mr. Vladimir Putin, the Honorable President of the Russian Federation, distinguished heads of BRICS member states, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Today we have convened the first summit meeting of the new or otherwise expanded BRICS, while many of the hopes for a more just, secure and prosperous world in the post-Cold War era have not been afforded the opportunity to be fulfilled, as aspirations for dominance and unilateralism continue to threaten, like a deadly plague, the foundations of global peace and cooperation. Over the 3 decades since the collapse of the bipolar system, it has become abundantly clear that the Western powers have it that peace, democracy, prosperity and development can only be achieved through the pathways they define and assign. The upshot of this monopolistic worldview thus far has been but a surge in violence, war and terrorism on the one hand, and unprecedented recourse to economic and political sanctions on the other. According to statistics, the United States alone has imposed 3 times as many sanctions on other countries of the world in the past 2 years than the entire stretch of the last decade. The flip side of the coin of Western unilateralism has been the outbreak of various wars, the most oppressive and excruciating of which are currently unfolding in the occupied Palestine and Lebanon. The formation, continuance and expansion of BRICS over the past 15 years have proffered the countries and the global community an opportunity to not tether their destinies to the sole dictates of Western powers, and to pave ways for broader participation of all emerging powers in global economic governance. In the early years following the establishment of BRICS, or the new payment systems independent of dollar need be strengthened. The independent countries can no longer indemnify the United States for its unsound financial policies or its failure to combat systemic corruption in its financial sector. The world today faces numerous challenges, including food security, climate change, debt crises, the North-South divide, to name a few. Addressing these issues, which have disproportionately exposed the developing countries and the global south to tension and harm, must go through the active participation of these nations. The BRICS alliance ought to pursue with higher vigor its cause of making the voices of the unheard echo throughout the global community and effectively follow up on its dialogue mechanisms with other countries. We believe in BRICS ideals of reforming global governance, multilateralism, promoting peace, security and inclusive economic growth, and fostering transparency and democracy in global financial institutions. For its part, the Islamic Republic of Iran will make every effort to ensure that BRICS, aloof from politicization and geopolitical conflicts, successfully navigates the tasks of reforming the global economic governance structure and creating alternative opportunities for the development and prosperity of the global South. With the inclusion of new members, BRICS institutions such as the new Development Bank and the Contingency Reserve Arrangement ought to assume greater responsibility for financing member countries' projects and addressing payment imbalances. Guided by the core principles of sound competition and mutual cooperation, each BRICS member should view the progress and development of other members as its own. BRICS is not meant to serve as merely a conversation club. Its decisions should have the backing of execution guarantees and anticipation of apt tools that can help them materialize. The growth of the level of economic cooperation, including the volume of investment and mutual trade among BRICS members, can be used as a benchmark to annually assess the degree of BRICS' success or failure. To this end, it is imperative that a center for collecting, aggregating, and evaluating member states' economic data be established. Such a center can pursue multiple objectives, from collecting customs data, and it can to creating tracking and tracing systems for products, establishing a common digital platform for registering and exchanging tax data, and shared data platforms for financial and commercial analysis using data mining and artificial intelligence technologies. It can help operate transit routes which will reduce delivery delays, and these are topics that merit more attention in BRICS decision-making. As I conclude, I should like to express my appreciation to the people and government of Russia for organizing this summit and for having taken on the weighty responsibility of presiding over BRICS in 2024. Once again, I would like to underline that achieving widespread and global economic prosperity and development goes through universal peace and security. Yet, what we are witnessing today in Palestine and Lebanon is the deepening of the footing of war and violence through disregard for the fundamental rights of the peoples, who want nothing more than the right to sovereignty over their ancestral lands. The continuation of the ongoing situation will indubitably continue to push the world closer to the risk of widespread insecurity and war. Therefore, I call on all the distinguished members of this valuable and influential BRICS to marshal all their collective and individual capacities to introduce change to the situation, to put an end to war in Gaza and Lebanon, and to reduce tensions in our region. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned very important things, namely, it is our common goal to ensure broad cooperation in the interests of the global majority. This is why we are all here, and this is why we work. Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to the President of South Africa, please.
Your Excellency, President Vladimir Putin, Your Excellencies, fellow BRICS leaders, honorable ministers, excellencies, and ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to start by thanking President Putin and the people of Russia for hosting this, the 16th BRICS summit in this beautiful city of Kazan. It is fitting that we hold the BRICS summit in a city that is so rich in heritage and culture, as we embrace this new chapter in BRICS as an expanded family of countries equally rich in history, culture, and capability. Our story as the BRICS countries is a story of solidarity, of mutual respect and mutual benefit. BRICS is an inclusive formation that has the ability to change the trajectory of the global South. To do this, we must realize the full potential of our economic partnership to ensure sustainable development for all and not just for some. We must undertake bold steps towards a mutual, shared, and equitable prosperity for all. Like most of the world, South Africa desires the smooth operation of supply chains, trade, tourism, and financial flows free from external influence in a multipolar world. Working together, the BRICS family has an important role in addressing the key challenges of the Global South in partnership with like-minded emerging market economies. We look forward to the report that will be given by our finance ministers and central bank governors on the use of local currencies in international trade and financial transactions between BRICS members and their trading partners. A few days ago, the BRICS business entities gathered in Moscow under the stewardship of the BRICS Business Council to explore tangible trade opportunities between our countries. For South Africa, these endeavors, which are focused on practical results, are critical in addressing our country's central national priority of inclusive economic growth. For us, inclusive growth means, amongst other things, prioritizing women-led businesses. In this regard, we acknowledge the diligent work of the BRICS Women's Business Alliance to unlock economic value between the BRICS countries for the development, growth, and sustainability of women-owned businesses. As we seek sustainable development solutions, we must acknowledge the challenges posed by climate change. We must acknowledge the devastating impact on lives and livelihoods of our current climate trajectory. As South Africa, we remain committed to a just transition to a low-carbon economy. We are committed to the reduction of global emissions, guided by the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. While countries with developing economies remain severely impacted by climate change, they have contributed the least to the current climate crisis that the world is experiencing. It is therefore vital that industrialized nations honor their climate commitments and ensure a just and equitable transition. It is essential that climate actions do not deepen global inequality or stifle the developmental aspirations of the countries in the global south. To achieve the objectives of the BRICS Strategy for Economic Partnership 2025, we must further explore pathways to unlock opportunities and address challenges confronted by micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises that operate in BRICS countries. We must intensify cooperation amongst BRICS members by launching common development programs in the fields of exports, industrial cooperation, and technology exchange. We have called for the recalibration of trade rules to enable industrialization. The WTO must be reformed. We must enhance beneficiation of mineral endowments of BRICS countries closest to the source where these minerals are produced. This is important for development and for the advancement of our decarbonization goals. The unique role that is played by the new development bank as a multinational development bank is pivotal to the development aspirations of our group and emerging markets and developing economies at large. We commend the work that is being done and progress that is being achieved by the new development bank under the excellent leadership of our dearest sister, Dilma Rousseff. It is one of the finest examples of the value of the BRICS group because it is supporting the growth and development of countries of the global south. And this is a great strength. And as we enhance the development of these countries, we also need to focus on peace and security in the world. The conflicts that continue to rage in the world are of great concern to us. The continuing conflict in Gaza, the Middle East, resulting in the death of so many Palestinians, is a matter of great concern. We must continue to insist that there should be a ceasefire with immediate effect, and that there should also be recognition for the self-determination of the Palestinians. We have achieved progress on a number of areas, and this level of progress that we have achieved must encourage us and inspire us to do more. And it must also make BRICS to become an even more effective instrument for global peace and for global progress at all levels, economic and otherwise. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for pointing out the challenges for the Global South. We all agree that we need to fight against climate change, but we cannot agree with you that no one should be allowed to use this for their own selfish interests or the interests of certain groups. You said that rightfully. Thank you very much for that. And now I would like to give the floor to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the United Arab Emirates.
Excellency President Vladimir Putin, the President of Federal Russia, Excellencies, we meet today at a historic moment that requires us all to think about the future in a different manner. We don't meet here for only dealing with the current challenges, yet to forge a roadmap for a brighter, sustainable future, fulfilling the aspirations of our populations. What is distinguishing about this juncture that the sustainability shapes the future of the upcoming economy. It has been clear that economic growth is no longer associated with the traditional patterns, yet on our potentialities and capabilities for innovation and the adoption of new technologies, in addition to rethinking of how to tap the current opportunities. Our economy today is in need of new drivers, and to think beyond current challenges and explore new solutions that would forge the global scene in a different manner that ensures growth, prosperity on one hand, and sustainability and fairness on the other hand. Ladies and gentlemen, UAE believes that the modern economy must be resilient, diversified, and based on innovation. Over the past decades, we built an economy based on diversification and openness to the world. Nonetheless, we realize that success is not only on present, but however it rests on the future and adoption of new approaches serving our interests and the interests of our population and forthcoming generations. Egypt takes pride that it has realized specific shifts in different sectors like aviation, technology, and logistics, as it hosts as well a number of the prominent strategic events at the international level, representing basic platforms for the enhancement of the international economic dialogue, especially pertinent to green and sustainable economy. The green economy represents today one of the basic anchors and pillars for the attainment of sustainable development. In the UAE, we see that such a diversified economy is an opportunity for strengthening economic growth. UAE invested in the renewable energy, wind energy, and other sources of energy, and we hope to enhance the capacity of the natural energy, and the green economy is part of our vision for a sustainable future that respects the environment. Excellences, through the comprehensive economic partnership, SIBA, UAE strengthens its initiatives and creates new economic opportunities. Such conventions are major pillars in our external economic policies. It allows us to open new markets and increases our economic competitiveness in the global markets. They also enhance our cooperation with our partnerships in the interest of the benefit of everybody. In UAE, we believe that the developmental partnership is the key to sustainable development, and we endeavor to expand such partnerships, and we also increasingly focus on the economies which contribute to green economy. Ladies and gentlemen, in the conclusion of our today's meeting, chaired by Excellency President Vladimir Putin, we assert that the joint communiqué that will be issued would be a very important step to our strengthening our collaboration and advancing and moving forward towards facing the future collaboration and achieving our joint goals. Thank you.
Thank you so much. United Arab Emirates are very responsible when it comes to resolution of our common tasks. We have had lots of opportunities to discuss it with President of the United Arab Emirates, in particular during his most recent visit to Russia. Now I give the floor to President of the New Development Bank, Madam Rousseff.
I
would like to salute the President of the Russian Federation, Mr. Vladimir Putin, for his warm welcome and for the excellent organization as the host of the BRICS summit, and for allowing us to come to this magnificent city in a very developed region in Russian, which is the city of Kazan, in the Tatar region. I'd like to greet all the other presidents here in attendance, as well as the heads of delegation and prime ministers. Ladies and gentlemen, over the next few months, important events are going to have an effect on the world economic panorama. After the central bank in the US cut interest rates in mid-September, the world is watching a new cycle where interest rates are being reduced, and once more friction is provoked and triggered by the predominance of these policies over the rest of the world. The future pace of this interest cut is completely independent of the trajectory of the work market or inflation in the US. What shows the lack of control that most countries have on its own interest rate trajectory, exchange rate trajectory. In Europe, the economy is frail, and other events continue to fire on the continent. The level of worry may be seen by the European Central Bank's decision last week of reducing interest rates for the third time this year. Therefore, we can see that there is a strong push for this stilled growth. However, global South countries in Asia, Middle East, Africa, and Latin America, particularly countries in Asia and the Middle East, they have been responsible responsible for the improvement as far as international economic financial conditions of all the peoples. Now, at the geopolitical level, the dramatic situation in Palestine, in the Middle East, continues to be a core point as far as our concern is concerned, particularly for the fact that the death of children and women has just the one explanation, termination. The complexities of the region, they also affect the transport and international logistics situation. Hence, the complex geopolitical situation is something that is added also to the use of the US dollar as a weapon for the changing of living conditions of populations that also affects the basis of the international financial system, which is trust and integrity. Therefore, it is within this scenario that NDB has been developing its activities. The first months of my time in office at NDB, they were very challenging because at that time the bank was undergoing a deterioration of its liquidity situation after 15 months of any public access to raising of funds outside of the bond markets that were very important for the bank, and this happened during the COVID pandemic. Starting in 2023, the NDB started to take measures to overcome these challenges. It identified its real need, fund raising needs, and managed to focus its resources going back to the market in April last year, and this return allowed for a better perception as far as risk is concerned in relation to NDB. Since then, the new development bank, the NDB, came back to the market many times, raising funds in RMB, in Hong Kong dollars, in dollars in the Middle East, in USDs, and also rands from South Africa, totaling almost 12 billion in many different operations. Basically speaking, the bank forces a diversification strategy, releasing bonds in the local markets for emissions in local currencies, also extending maturity as well as reducing costs, making the most of its unique position in the Asian and Middle East markets, and thus we're able to reduce our financing spread in 45 base points for dollar loans we have started to issue within a 5-year maturity, and we are actually expecting to be able to do more. The descending cost trajectory that we've been experiencing shows that the bank is on the right path. Resuming fundraising activities allowed us to make disbursements for hired projects in addition to signing new financing contracts and increase the so-called project pipeline for NDB. Only for the years of 2024 and 2025, we projected a project pipeline from 39 to 40 projects that goes from transport infrastructure, clean energy, energy efficiency, water, sanitation, environmental protection, social and digital infrastructure, totaling almost 10 billion USDs. The accumulated disbursements from the bank have reached $20.6 billion since its creation. The bank has financed 101 investment projects, which has totaled around $35 billion. The new development bank is expecting and wants to put a lot of emphasis in the financing in local currencies, and this is critical to increase our financing capacity, such as our strategy from 2022 to 2026 that establishes the goal of ensuring that 30% of all financing will be done so using currencies from member countries. Up until now, the approval of projects in local currencies from our countries has reached 28.3%. Thus, we are reaching the 30% already, and this is why it is critical for us to promote new technologies, promote new platforms for financing in local currencies. This approach, in addition to being important and ensuring us higher financial sovereignty and ensuring that the finances also reflect the importance of our countries' investments and trade, also tries to solve this imbalance created from the cash flows when we take these USDs for them to be expressed in local currencies and the financing of the payment being done in international dollar, because this has been one of the sources that explains the high level of indebtedness of global South countries. Because once you raise funds in local currencies, you do away with the need for hedging and you create a protection against the volatility of interest and exchange rates. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the positive results reached by NDB recently have allowed for an important new reduction to be approved for sovereign loans for our member countries. A very long-lasting request from our shareholders, and this is an important fact because by reducing such costs makes the projects better for countries in the global south and also makes the bank more competitive. Another item which is top of our priority list is expanding the number of members, because new members, they reinforce the roles, the bank's role as a platform for cooperation for global south countries. The growing interconnection between us makes it easier for creating a financial infrastructure based on multilateralism and on a multipolar world. And it also boosts this dynamic. In 2023 and 2024, NDB had many formal consultations sent for them to become members of the country, which shows how consolidated the NDB is and how attractive it is for global south nations. In a debate held in the last meeting of the bank governors, we are now finalizing the process for admitting Algeria as a member of the bank. The NDB tried to reach another strategic goal, which is to become a center of knowledge, and thus the bank has promoted relevant discussions about the sustainable development and also the use of currencies from member countries, exploring platforms and technologies to offer more favorable financial conditions for emerging markets and developing countries. It is thus the commitment that the bank has of exploring new, innovative and important financing platforms in local currencies. It has also been very important to share development views and experiences, particularly to share our processes of overcoming energy-related problems, transforming this experience in benefits for member countries. Lastly, I am happy to say that despite the uncertainties and global challenges, the new development bank has moved forward and has shown positive trends in this last period. However, this does not mean that we are pleased with what we have reached. This only makes us capable of striving to reach more and get more, fulfilling our institutional mandate to the benefit of our member countries means to continue to work to increase our financial capacity, particularly through the financing platforms for local currencies, so that we may have necessary resources to provide for the needs that we know are many, be it in facing inequalities and development, be it in energy transition, be it in the sphere of striving to reach a safer, more stable world for all of us in favor of this more multipolar world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Rousseff. You said that the dollar was used as a weapon. It is true, and we see that. I think it is a great mistake by those who do it, since the use of the dollar, which is still the most important tool in global finance, and its use as a political tool undermines trust in this currency, thereby reducing its capabilities. We are not the ones who do that, it's others. We are not rejecting the dollar or fighting against it, but if they don't let us work with it, what else should we do? We should seek other alternatives, and this is exactly what we do. We aspire to cooperation, but still we should understand that the longer we live and work under someone else's rules and on someone else's platforms, the longer the transition will take to build a new, fair economic financial system, and the more turbulence we will experience, including those that we now witness in the Middle East. We'll talk to our colleagues about this later. Thank you very much for your work. And now, allow me to give the floor to the chair of the BRICS Business Council, Mr. Kathirin. Thank you, distinguished Mr. President, heads of state and government, participants of the meeting. This year, the BRICS Business Council continued active promotion of the flagship initiatives aimed at strengthening BRICS partnerships. I would like to point out that in the course of our work we aspire to preserve continuity of our Business Council agenda, while magnifying it through new relevant initiatives in accordance with the requests that we receive from our country's business communities. Priority attention was paid to the integration of our work in the expanded BRICS format. Our work culminated in the large-scale BRICS Business Forum on the 18th of October in Moscow, bringing together over 1,000 members of the business communities of the countries of BRICS. We worked during 4 panel sessions involving all the relevant areas of business cooperation. During the forum, we also awarded the winners of the International Best Practices Competition of BRICS and the Women's Startup Competition. The main outcomes and proposals of the forum, elaborated by the BRICS Business Council, served as the foundation for the yearly annual report that we provide for your consideration. This is the main outcome of our work this year. This document includes 46 recommendations to continue cooperation in the following areas: infrastructure, transportation and logistics, financial services and investments, agriculture, trade and international cooperation, digital economy and artificial intelligence, energy, green economy, climate, aviation and industry, professional training. Keeping in mind the high importance of transportation as the priority condition to expand international trade, The Council pays close attention to the matters of strengthening transportation and logistics links, as well as developing international transportation corridors and elaborating the modern intermodal logistics solutions to establish the seamless transportation infrastructure. The second priority block, which serves as the core of the Business Council agenda this year, is about establishing the sustainable financial system. We paid much attention to the creation of new BRICS international payments mechanisms, payment services, the BRICS credit ratings, as well as the matters of insurance market cooperation. The third priority area for the Business Council of BRICS for this year is the development of the digital economy as well as the cooperation in the area of AI. In this context, the efforts of the Business Council were aimed to promote the initiatives to establish a joint digital infrastructure, the joint use of biometric identification systems, as well as the development of information security and digital inclusivity. Apart from that, the Business Council agenda was dominated by the matters of food security, investment cooperation, sustainable development, as well as ensuring BRICS technological sovereignty. Distinguished Mr. President, heads of state and government, under the current political and economic transformations, we still witness serious aspirations of the businesses of BRICS to continue working together to establish and deepen business contacts, to seek out new drivers for economic growth, for the sake of better links between our countries, to improve the quality of life and welfare of the BRICS citizens. Basing on the experience of the Business Council this year, you can rest assured that the BRICS business community, the Chambers of Trade and Industry, the Committees for International Trade, the industrial unions and entrepreneur associations, companies and enterprises stand ready to continue working on their links to build fair and mutually beneficial cooperation. To conclude, I would like to say, Mr. President, distinguished heads of state and government, that the BRICS Business Council will continue promoting and implementing the capacity of the economic capacity of the group, guided by the principles of continuity, openness, mutual trust, respect, and the interests of each party. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much. I was giving a speech recently for the Business Council in Moscow, and I believe that all our country's entrepreneurs aspired to direct contacts with each other, and we will keep promoting that. Thank you. Now I would like to give the floor to the chair of the Interbank Cooperation Mechanism, Mr. Shuvalov. Distinguished leaders, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, development banks are meant to assist governments and peoples in overcoming the challenges moving toward a more fair world order. We are grateful to our partners of the Interbank Cooperation Mechanism for their active involvement in our work during the chairmanship of the Web.RF. We are grateful to them, and here are the main areas of our work this year: the financement of trade in national currencies, the innovative mechanism of financing infrastructural projects, in particular the mixed financing mechanism, as well as the establishment of voluntary carbon markets and carbon units for the BRICS members, and the cooperation with the Institutes of Development, in particular the New Development Bank. As stated today, as part of the business forum, President Putin, you underlined that the economies of our group would generate the main growth of the global GDP in the future. This requires the establishment of our own development platform, which would be independent from any outside influence. And a special role in strengthening our financial cooperation belongs to the New Development Bank, as mentioned today. This bank was also involved in the events of the Interbank Cooperation Mechanism. We stand ready to continue working to deepen our multilateral and bilateral links with the partners in the financial institutes. Together with the partners, we agreed upon the updated framework agreement on cooperation, as well as signed an agreement on credit lines in national currencies with China and South Africa, and we expect that this document would later be joined by Brazil and India. Apart from that, we started work to expand the format by nominating organizations from the new BRICS members. Unfortunately, as of today, only Iran has provided its Mali Bank as one of the strongest national banks to take part in this format. Allow me to address the leaders of the new member countries. Make sure that you nominate such organizations as soon as possible to ensure the mechanism can work to its full capacity, especially in the year of Brazil's chairmanship. The exchange of experience between the members of our group and the mechanism of the IBM mixed financing was the center of our work. We presented our top-of-the-line product, the project financement system. We believe that the mixed finance system, when we use various funding sources, would improve the prospects for the joint projects in the multilateral format. The scale of the challenges facing our economies clearly indicates that we need to stand together to implement the trans-border projects in such areas as transportation infrastructure and high-tech industries. Together with the Russian Ministry of Economic Development, we plan to work on the tools to evaluate the quality of life and efficiency of projects in the area of public-private partnerships at the BRICS level. The work on the public-private partnerships is the traditional mandate of development banks in the world. As part of our group, we could consider the exchange of best practices as well as the expansion of the PPP projects with the involvement of business from friendly states and the multilateral and member states development banks. This work could also be conducted under the leadership of the new development bank. An important part of the BRICS agenda is the issue of sustainable development and in particular the joint realization of projects aimed at helping national economies adapt to climate change. And all the members of the mechanism stand united in their understanding that carbon neutrality cannot go against other priorities of sustainable development, namely the quality of life, energy and food security, water availability and inclusive education. As the main institute of financement in Russia, we promote carbon neutrality together with our partners and hope for broad cooperation with other financement institutes and development institutes of BRICS+. The countries of the group have great capacity to implement national mineral projects and resource projects, since we are the producers and the consumers of these resources. This opens great promises and prospects for the common carbon unit market. In order to do so, we need to establish this market, establish the rules of procedure. During the chairmanship, we only made the first step in this direction. We stand ready to continue such cooperation, including during the upcoming COP29 conference in Azerbaijan. The Web.RF stands ready to expand cooperation as part of the BRICS IBM, and we have accumulated significant experience in modern economy, city economy, the building of schools, modernizing city transportation, energy sites, water supply, and utilities. We stand ready to share our experience and expertise with our partners. To conclude, I would like to welcome the Brazilian Development Bank, BNDES, as the chair of the BRICS ICM in 2025. We stand ready to provide comprehensive support to the BNDES as part of its chairmanship. Thank you.
We wish you success. Thank you for your work. It's one of the most important areas of our activities. Banks, actually, is blood for world economy and national economies. Once again, thank you for your work and success to our Brazilian partners. And now I pass the floor to the chair of the Women's Business Alliance, Madam Nesterova. You have the floor. Dear Vladimir Vladimirovich, dear heads of states of BRICS, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this opportunity to brief you about the main results of our alliance in the framework of Russian chairship. The alliance has been started in 2020. 4 years elapsed, and for this period of time, thanks to common efforts of all national parties, it became efficient mechanism of business cooperation between business women. Alliance includes industry, agriculture, finances, pharmaceutical sector, IT, and creative industries, as well as science. We have 6 sectorial working groups. During Russian chairship, we started the ESG dialogue, which is aimed at implementation of joint initiative and projects. This year, one of our main tasks is to create the comfort conditions for involving new country in our agenda. And our key project, Common Digital Alliance Platform, helped us. We started developing it back in 2021. This portal allows business women to get all the necessary information about the alliance projects and initiatives, to mark their business interests and to develop direct business contacts with their country from our countries, and became part of business activities of BRICS. More than 2,000 business women from 30 countries are part of this alliance, and we started more than 1,000 women projects and initiatives. We organized the competition of women business startups, and which included more than 100,000 business women from 29 countries. The majority of requests had to do with highly technological innovative projects, and business women actually active in different areas. Just I quote a few examples. Iran, business women, they developed a system of constant monitoring of glucose and innovative therapy on the basis of immune cells to fight cancer. They created smart spoons to relieve tremor. China, unique robotized hands for humanoid robots. Russia, progress software for analysis and interpretation of CT, MRT, etc. They developed technologies for online diagnostic of cardio monitoring. So the alliance platform offers them the opportunity to scale up the best practices. We keep working with them because this is the basis for implementation of multilateral initiatives and projects. All these projects we included into digest, which reflects the result of this competition. The entrepreneurship of business women is diverse, but there are areas where ladies dominate. And first of all, in the social area, where they create more comfortable social environment. Alliance studied 10 countries of BRICS in the economy of care, patients' care, elders and disabled care. And as a result, we published a white book which is dealing with care economics, and where 100 best practices are reflected, how to eliminate administrative barriers for ladies, etc., etc. The document has been published on the Alliance platform. It could be updated, and we will keep working on that. At the same time, Alliance has published in the report about the situation of ladies in BRICS. The report is published every year. It's the initiative of Chinese colleagues. It has been started in 2022. There is an active interest in other countries to establish cooperation with the Alliance and business women of BRICS. Last year, on the basis of the South Africa initiative, we organized in Zambia, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, and Mozambique national centers. During Russian chairship, we continued this activities, and we started regional offices in Kyrgyzstan, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. We have sure that the geographical representation keeps spreading, and their work is aimed at developing partnership with business women of working in countries which are not part of BRICS, offering them new opportunities for implementation common initiatives. We keep implementing last year initiatives. We keep working on creating network of centers of labor and educational mobility of BRICS. First center has been opened in South Africa in 2023. This year, Ethiopia and India joined them. Together with our partners and new development bank, we are discussing the opportunity to create BRICS Foundation to promote women's projects. Women's businesses, small or medium business, and for them, attracting investment for their development is an acute problem. And we hope to start to develop toolbox which will allow such projects to get necessary financial support. There have been a lot of new initiatives this year. Among them, the initiative to create a platform for dialogue for the ladies which are professional in legal area, development of new innovative pharmaceutical products, initiative to develop cooperation in preventive treatment of chronic non-infectional diseases, creation of media platform in the health area of BRICS. This year, we followed our traditional formats. The Forum of Businesswomen, we Forum in Brazil, the Forum of BRICS in China, St. Pete Economic Forum in Eurasian Women's Forum in Russia. We started a new format. Last June in Moscow, we organized the first forum of women's entrepreneurship, which included 400 dialogues from 30 countries of the world, and not only 10 countries of BRICS were active, but other countries were active as well. And the participants have common interest vis-à-vis our activities, our agenda, and their aim to get specific business results. Actually, we've witnessed the consolidation of our partner dialogue on the basis of equality, dialogue between new BRICS members and founding countries. All these results we've reflected in the yearly digest of our alliance, and we are presenting it today to you. The business women number increasing, and we actually keep working on solving our tasks, and we have thousands and thousands of projects and 2,000 of business women who have a common interest vis-à-vis BRICS. Thank you for your attention. Thank you. On my behalf, on behalf of my colleague, I'd like to thank you for your work, and we will do our best to support your ideas, implement them. And I do hope that Brazilian chairmanship will continue your work. Now I'd like to ask my colleagues whether anyone of you would like to comment anything or add something. No. Then, with your permission, I'd like to say a few concluding words. Once again, I'd like to thank you for substantial and active, interest-provoking discussion. We have discussed in detail priority issues dealing with strategic partnership in BRICS. We have outlined perspective for further cooperation. We've expressed common or similar positions vis-à-vis the majority of actual and global regional problems. It's important that all BRICS partners are aimed at continuing joint work aimed at more democratic, inclusive, and multipolar international system. We share the understanding that together we are capable of implementing the most ambitious and large-scale projects and initiatives. Presentations of financial and business structures of BRICS were very interesting. Russia, as a co-chair of New Development Bank, is in favor of further consolidation of its project activities in all shareholding countries, as well as in the countries of Global South and East. We support active work of Business Council of BRICS, which in practical fashion is dealing with cooperation between large business and small and medium companies for our countries in industry, agriculture, trade, energy, and transport. We believe important interaction in the framework of interbanking mechanism of BRICS aimed at common support of social especially important economic projects, programs of regional development, infrastructural development. One of important tasks is to stimulate using national currencies for trade and investments, and no doubt our common support should be offered to the activities of Women's Business Alliance of BRICS, created to help the best part of our humanity in their business development and their contacts and future-oriented activities. In general, this year, the cooperation, thanks to cooperation in BRICS, we get serious results in all three most important areas: in politics, security, economics, finances, culture, and humanitarian context, and it's a good groundwork for the future. The final declaration is ready for our adoption, and declaration reflects our general evaluation of the situation in the world, the results of Russian chairship in BRICS, and future-oriented areas for our cooperation are also determined. Colleagues, any comments, any addition to this declaration? If not, then I propose to adopt this declaration. The declaration is adopted. And I'd like to mention that we are planning to distribute this document in the UN as our common document. As it was mentioned, starting from next January, Brazil will assume the chairmanship rights, and I'm sure that Brazil chairship will be based on continuity and will enrich our cooperation with new interesting initiatives and ideas, and we will support our Brazilian friends. And at the end, I'd like to thank you for constructive and productive joint work, and to declare our meeting of BRICS summit in the expanded fashion concluded. Tomorrow we will have outreach BRICS Plus, and we will discuss important issues of interaction between our group and other countries of the world majority. And this evening I invite you to the reception, and delegations which came for tomorrow's meeting are invited there also. And the time before reception we will use for our bilateral meetings. Once again, thank you for your joint work. Thank you.